A couple of weeks ago, I took delivery of this. This is the Xiaomi Mi Max 3. It's a 6.9-inch giant smartphone with an LCD display, stereo speakers, and a ginormous 5500 milliamp hour battery. So I wanted to use it as my daily driver for 2 weeks to see if this is worth your money. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Xiaomi Mi Max 3. Coming up. Want to see more videos like this? Why not hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification icon? This way you'll be alerted every time I post a new video. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. That's where I post all the latest updates. Now before I begin, I would encourage you to check out my unboxing and first look video. It's pretty extensive. I cover a lot of things I'm not going to repeat in this video. So if you haven't done so, check out my unboxing and first look video. Now, using this as my daily driver for the past 2 weeks, two things come to mind. Number one, this is a very large smartphone with a large display, and it may not be for everyone. But I'm in the camp that really likes these large smartphones, and I know a lot of you do, judging by the amount of views I'm getting and requests to review this and the Honor Note 10, which by the way, I just did the review. Check it out if you haven't done so. Now, I know this exists out there, people want these. I hope manufacturers will start making more of these. They're phenomenal. The other thing that comes to mind is how great that battery life is. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Now, to give you a quick rundown of the specs, it's powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 636. It comes in either 4 or 6 gigabytes of RAM. Storage options go from 64 gigabytes up to 128 gigabytes of onboard storage. It has a microSD card slot which supports up to 256 gigabyte microSD cards, and again it has that massive 5500 milliamp hour battery. Now, when it comes to performance, the Snapdragon 636 is definitely a step up from the 625 that was found in the Mi Max 2 from last year, and judging by the Antutu benchmarks as well as the Geekbench 4 results, you can see the difference. I thought everything seemed to be pretty snappy. The OS was fluid. It seemed to handle all the games on high settings without any issues. This is a pretty decent processor, although many would want to see, say, the Snapdragon 710. I thought this one actually did pretty good. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Mi Max 3 is simply phenomenal. I was getting closer to 3 days between charges. It'll be 2 to 3 days depending on how you use your device. I actually used mine pretty hard, and I actually got closer to 3 days to give you an idea of just how massive that battery and endurance is. Now, I got a screen on time around 13 hours and 8 minutes, beating out the Honor Note 10, which did phenomenal in its own right. Now, if you do need to charge in, the quick charge adapter supplied in the box will give you 35% in 30 minutes, 67% in an hour, and a full charge you're looking at around 2 hours and 5 minutes, and considering the size of that battery, that's pretty incredible. Now, obviously one of my favorite features of this is its large 6.9-inch IPS LCD display. It's got a resolution of 2160 by 1080, that's 350 pixels per inch. You're looking at a 79.8% screen-to-body ratio, so you have pretty decent sized bezels. Although they are there, it's not that bad. They're pretty thin for such a large device. And with an 18:9 aspect ratio, you're looking at something a little bit easier to handle than last year's Mi Max 2. Now, when it comes to screen brightness, it has a measurement of 450 nits. It's good for both indoor and outdoor use. I had no issues. I was actually happy with it. Now, it's not as bright as the Honor Note 10. I go into more detail in the Note 10 review, so check that out. Now, this is a very sharp IPS display, although I'm going to be honest with you, it's not as good as the AMOLED display on the Note 10. That's not to say this is a bad display by any stretch. No, it's actually pretty excellent. It's got some really deep blacks, very good color reproduction, good color accuracy. I think overall this is an excellent IPS display. I just prefer the AMOLED displays like the one you find on the Honor Note 10, but this in its own right is pretty great. You get one speaker in the earpiece and one in the bottom of the device for stereo separation. Now let's hear it in action. I actually really like these speakers. The volume is good. There's a hint of bass. I really think this is a great multimedia device, especially with the large display in combination with those stereo speakers. Now, they're not quite as good as the Honor Note 10. I think you're getting a theme here, though, ladies and gentlemen, but this is good in its own right. But this has something the Honor Note 10 doesn't have, a 3.5mm headphone jack, which worked well, no interference, no static. I'm really happy it's on this device. Now, as I covered in the unboxing video, this has a dual camera setup on the back, a 12 megapixel main shooter and a 5 megapixel secondary shooter for some pretty decent results. Although it wasn't the best in low light situations, it was actually pretty decent. Now, that 5 megapixel secondary camera is used mainly to give you that bokeh or blurred background effect in portrait mode, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was the best I've ever seen, but certainly not the worst. I thought it can get the job done, to give you a fair example of it. Now, if you want to shoot black and white photos, I think it's okay, not great, a little bit blown out, but overall I thought the detail was decent and I think it would get the job done. I would say it's okay for low light situations. This picture was taken at dusk time and I thought it was okay, not bad. Now, this can shoot 4K video, 30 frames per second, 1080p up to 60 frames per second. Now, under 4K, there is no image stabilization, but if you use an app like Open Camera, there is an image stabilization option, which seems to solve the problem. Now, as far as the front-facing camera, it's an 8 megapixel camera with a 1080p 30 frames per second video, and I mistakenly said it was 720p. I was wrong, it's 1080p. It was actually pretty good. No issues with selfies or any kind of video conferencing with that front-facing camera. Now, I will be doing a more in-depth camera comparison between this Mi Max 3 and the Honor Note 10 in the comparison video coming very soon. And for those of you in the United States, I'm happy to report I am getting 4G LTE service, pretty good speeds via T-Mobile. Now, it's through my Project Fi SIM, which utilizes the T-Mobile network. Of course, you have to pre-activate it on a Google-approved device, but I am getting 4G LTE service. Now, as far as AT&T is concerned, I can't confirm it. I would believe it would get it, but if anybody has been using this on AT&T, let us know in the comment section below. But of course, check with your carrier before you buy this to make sure. Now, you can pick up the Xiaomi Mi Max 3 for around $315 imported from China. Obviously, if you live in China, it'll be less money, it'll be cheaper. There won't be a premium put on it that the importers actually tack on to the price. Now, you can pick up the Honor Note 10. It is more expensive, around $430, so it is more expensive than the Mi Max 3. But you also get an AMOLED display, you also get NFC, and you get a more premium design. And I think that might be worth the money difference. So to bring it all home, can I recommend the Xiaomi Mi Max 3? Absolutely, no hesitation recommending it. It's one of my favorite mid-range smartphones here for 2018, but it's certainly not my favorite. That honor goes to the Honor Note 10. Check out my full review to know exactly why. But if you don't want to spend the extra money on the Honor Note 10, I have no hesitation recommending this excellent Xiaomi Mi Max 3, one of the best giant smartphones out there, making it worth your money. So what do you think about the Xiaomi Mi Max 3? I actually love it. This is a great smartphone, especially for the price point at about $315 imported from China to the United States. Obviously, out of China, you're going to be paying a premium as the retailers tack on some profit. But this is a really good value. What you're getting is a 6.9-inch LCD display. It's sharp, it's bright, it's really good. You get some really nice speakers, one in the earpiece and one on the bottom. And you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, something the Honor Note 10 doesn't have. And I don't want to discount that. I think that this is an important port that I think more manufacturers, especially on these large devices, should include, especially on the Note 10. We'll talk about that in the Note 10's full review. Check it out, link below. But getting back to this one, in its own right, less money than the Honor Note 10, you are sacrificing some things. Now, you don't get NFC, you don't get wireless charging, you don't get any kind of waterproofing. Now, there is no waterproofing and no wireless charging on the Note 10, but the Note 10 does have NFC, and if you want to use Google Pay, then you'd want to go with that device because that obviously has NFC. Something I would like to see in the next version of this definitely is NFC. Wireless charging is not a deal breaker for me. I'm not expecting it at this price point, especially since this doesn't obviously have a glass back. It's a metal design, so I'm not expecting it. But as far as waterproofing, it would be nice. I wasn't expecting it either, again, at this price point. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. The biggest selling feature here is if you want best-in-class battery life with that 5,500 milliamp hour battery, this is your beast right here. This is an endurance king. This outlasted the Honor Note 10 in my testing, and it really is definitely the battery champ. Now, then again, 10 hours plus screen on time on the Note 10 is excellent in its own right, so don't discount that as well. But getting back to this device, this is much cheaper than the Honor Note 10. That's not to be discarded either. That is a significant amount less than the Note 10, so you want to keep that in mind. But again, my favorite device is the Note 10. Check out my full review to know exactly why. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and of course my website, AMDtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMDtech. See ya.